buried you beneath the lies, stacked the dirt high with guilt and shame, thought the silence would swallow you whole and turn you into a faded footnote. Underestimated how deep your roots ran beneath their destruction. Didn't know pressure was your native language. Didn't realize darkness doesn't scare those who were born in it. They thought they were ending you, but they were chiseling something ancient from your bones. Something even you didn't know lived inside. Not rage, not revenge, something bigger. Something louder than words, stronger than pride, sharper than fear. They didn't break you. They cracked the shell around the beast, and now it breathes. You walk different now, not heavy with hate, but steady with power, the kind that bends rooms without touching a thing. The kind that makes people smile with their mouths but sweat through their spine. Because you're not just healed, you're aware of every game, every mask. Every false apology that comes with a hidden knife, and now you see it all before it even moves. They don't know what to do with you, can't box you in, can't guilt you out, can't throw the past at you because you already made armor from it. You became untouchable not because you built walls, but because you burned the blueprint. No one can figure you out because you destroyed the version of you they used to manipulate, and now all they've got is a stranger with your face and a fire behind the eyes. They whisper now, pretend they were always on your side, rewrite the story while looking over their shoulder, not because you're chasing them, but because they know what you're capable of if you ever stop choosing peace. They didn't break you, they summoned you. And what showed up isn't asking for justice, it is justice, walking, breathing, remembering everything, but needing nothing. You became what they can't name, can't tame, can't touch. Not a monster, not a savior. Just the unleashing they didn't see coming. Now you move like a consequence wrapped in calm. Don't need to shout, don't need to prove. Just walk in, and the energy shifts. The air gets thicker, the masks get tighter. Because when you enter, so does the truth. And truth has a pulse. Yours, steady, unbothered, dangerous in its stillness. The kind of presence that doesn't ask to be felt, it just is, like thunder that shows up before the rain. They don't look you in the eyes anymore, because in yours is the mirror they can't face, not the kind that reflects their face, but their intentions, their games, their attempts to keep you small. And now that you've outgrown the room, the roles, the rules, they pretend they helped you get here. But deep down they know. They threw you into the fire thinking you'd beg for water, not knowing you'd become the heat. You became the version of yourself that doesn't flinch, doesn't explain, doesn't participate in the performance. The one that listens and remembers, forgives but doesn't forget. The one that doesn't show up to prove them wrong, but shows up because you can, because you survived. And not just survived, you leveled up. Quietly, savagely, beautifully. They used to laugh at your silence, now they fear it. Because silence is where you built this version, brick by scar, breath by breakdown. Not loud, but real, not fast, deep, but permanent. And they can feel it every time your name comes up, because your name no longer represents the past. It represents the reminder, the awakening, the ripple that comes after the storm they thought they escaped. And now you're not looking back, not bitter, not chasing revenge, but you're watched, you're feared. Not because of what you say, but because of who you've become without needing to say anything at all. They didn't break you. They just gave you the key to a door they should have never opened. And now they live with the echo of what came through. And what came through wasn't a second chance version of you, wasn't softer, wasn't safer, it was sovereign. Untouchable, shaped by every silence they forced you to sit in, That every moment they thought they won, every crack they smiled at while you crumbled. Not knowing those cracks weren't your end, they were your birthmark, and now you wear them like a crown carved by storms. You didn't just return, you emerged, and not from approval, not from apology, but from awareness, the kind that can't be unlearned, the kind that sees through masks, that cuts through small talk, stands tall without explanation, because when you've been underestimated long enough, your power becomes precision, your voice becomes surgical, your presence becomes undeniable. Now they don't ask what happened to you. They feel it, in the way you don't flinch when disrespected, in the way you don't chase, don't compete, don't explain, because you've been in the pit and you made a home there. And when you climbed out, you didn't come back for revenge, you came back with vision, a clarity that burns through every fake connection, every familiar face laced with hidden intentions. They created something they can't manage, something that doesn't fold under pressure, doesn't chase closure, doesn't entertain chaos, it simply outgrows. And that's what haunts them, that you walked away without a scream, without a scene, just a silence so final it echoes like judgment, like truth, like freedom. They didn't break you. They triggered the evolution. And now all they can do is watch what they lost become something they'll never get close to again. Because what you are now, untouchable, unshaken, unforgettable. And you didn't need revenge. You became the reminder. And reminders don't leave quietly. And the reminder isn't loud, it lingers, it waits. It shows up in reflections they don't want to face, in choices they regret making, in moments they wish they could rewrite, because they thought your silence meant defeat, not knowing it was the rebuild, the recalibration. The moment the storm started learning its name, you walk differently now, not because you're trying to prove power, but because you are power, not borrowed, not begged for, not handed down, earned. The kind built in the trenches where nobody clapped, where you had to hold your own spine up through the weight of being misunderstood, misjudged, and underestimated, until standing tall became your default. Now they reach out in subtle ways, small talk, fake check-ins, harmless little just thinking of you. Messages trying to get close to what they once dismissed, trying to feel the warmth of a fire they tried to extinguish, but all they touch now is ash. Because you burned the version of you that needed their permission. You no longer explain your boundaries, you enforce them with silence, not out of spite, but because you no longer speak the language of those who tried to shrink you. Your energy doesn't negotiate anymore, it simply exits. And that exit hits harder than any argument ever could, because it says, I don't need to win here. I've already outgrown it. They didn't break you. They broke the illusion. The one where you ever needed them to recognize your worth. And now the only thing louder than your silence is the sound of your becoming. Unbothered, unreachable, and permanently out of their reach. Now your absence does more damage than your presence ever did, because when you were there, they mistook your loyalty for weakness, your patience for permission, your silence for submission. But the moment you stepped away, they realized it wasn't noise holding them together, it was you. Holding back, holding strong, holding in every truth you were too powerful to weaponize. You didn't leave with chaos, you left with clarity, not a slammed door but a closed chapter. And in that quiet goodbye, you took everything they never appreciated, your energy, your grace, your access, your forgiveness, and without it, They're left replaying memories like a song they can't stop humming but can never dance to again. You stop showing up where your presence was used instead of respected. You stop pouring into places that drank you dry. And in doing so, you became what they can't reclaim, a lesson, not taught with anger, but delivered through transformation, the kind that doesn't just teach, it transcends. Leaves a mark not out of revenge, but from the sheer contrast of what you've become. You glow now in ways they never saw coming, not flashy, not for show, but the kind of glow that comes from self-possession, from walking through fire and not needing to talk about the scars, because they're stitched into your strength, into your stride, or into that unshakable calm that makes people whisper when you enter, like you carry the truth they've been running from. They didn't break you. They revealed you. And once revealed, you became a force without fury, a storm without thunder, a truth without apology. And they'll feel that forever. Not because you haunt them, but because your growth became the proof that they were never needed for you to become unforgettable. Like, comment, and subscribe.